Hey guys, Tony here. My last and final video, or possibly my second to last final video on the March Madness and the NCAA tournament. Probably my last video before I come out with my entire bracket before Thursday's games. Once again, before on May the 5th of 2017, I predicted Arizona to win the NCAA tournament of 2018. Ever since June of last year, I predicted Arizona to beat Duke on April the 2nd, a date of 4-2. It's no coincidence that right now it is Arizona that is a 4th seed in Duke as a 2nd seed. The reason why this is significant, April the 2nd, 42, is because Freemason equals 42 and 96. It is Freemasons that run and control the government, the media, all these outlets that pretty much are run by the gang that runs a puppeteer show behind the scenes politics and sets up these rigged sporting events. Interesting too that it is Miller in gematria that equals 33, Sean Miller, coach of Arizona, and DeAndre Ayton in gematria that equals 33, which is pretty interesting, which brings me up to another point. Number one, Arizona can win its 33rd game of the season to end up winning the NCAA tournament. It is Masonry that equals 33. Also, once again, it is Miller and DeAndre and gematria that equals 33. But what's pretty interesting about the 51 is something else. Federal government, I think, equals 51. Actually, equals 85. Okay. Actually, I'll take that back. Never mind the point I was trying to make. Just forgot about it a second ago. Sean Miller, Arizona head coach, is going to end up beating his former team. Sean Miller used to be a coach for Xavier basketball. Xavier, Arizona defeated in the NCAA tournament in the Sweet 16. But it was Xavier that was the last team that prevented Sean Miller from winning the Final Four. And Sean Miller can end up making the Final Four for the first time as a coach in NCAA basketball. It is his 14th season with Arizona, the end of a bad streak of not making the Final Four. And for Sean Miller, he has 72 losses right now as a head coach. There's an FBI investigation going on, a federal investigation going back to 33. The reason why all this is significant is because it is a big soap opera in that Arizona may be guilty, Arizona may not be guilty, but I think that not all of the facts are out yet, and I think possibly it may be outright fake news. That was from an unnamed source. We didn't hear anything about the reporter after he came out with the first story. So a couple reports contradicted each other. He made the phone call in 2017. No, he didn't. He made it in 2016. The Aytons have reacted very strongly against these allegations. And Sean Miller as well for Arizona. It is because the Arizona Wildcats in gematria equals 82 in gematria. What also equals 82 in gematria is FBI investigation. This is maybe all written and scripted fake news because Arizona is has the majority of the spotlight in the news, that there are rumors of the coach ordering the $100,000 payment. Also, former Arizona assistant Book Richardson ended up being arrested as part of this investigation. For some reason, Arizona may just be multiple players that are guilty in the scheme of things, and really it is an overall institutional problem, that it's not just Arizona doing this kind of activity. It's Kansas, Kentucky, Duke. Arizona in gematria equals 39. Also, fake news in gematria equals 84. This may be fake news that Arizona is the major player that's guilty of landing all the recruits. It's everyone else. But it may be the Arizona Wildcats that are going to set an example for reform in college basketball, that this is not to be tolerated. And there may be a championship moment for Arizona to win its 33rd game of the season, to end up winning the title as a tribute to Freemasonry. In the 2 games Sean Miller played against his former team Xavier, the team that he used to coach, Sean Miller scored 71 points and 68 points against these 2 teams, 71 and 68. They add up to 139. Going back to the Freemasonry point, Freemasonry equals 139. So all of this is no coincidence for Sean Miller. The coach that now coaches Xavier goes by the name of Chris Mack. Chris Mack, the Xavier head coach, was an assistant under Sean Miller. He has a total of 96 losses for the season. It is Freemason that equals 96 and 42. Once again, I can't say this enough. It was Arizona Wildcats that won the 97 national championship game. The 97 national championship game, Arizona scored 84 points. Once again, this was a scripted game back then. Arizona equals 84. What's pretty interesting, though, was that Arizona, this may have been their 25th victory of the year back then, I believe. You see, DeAndre Ayton, #1 overall pick. DeAndre, 33 in gematria, can win his 33rd game with Arizona to win the national title. The day of the Final Four, the day that Sean Miller would win and reach his first Final Four, the day that he's going to play in his first Final Four, is this year's date of March 31st. This is very interesting. Now, this is the case for Sean Miller. Chris Mack, 97th loss, is going to come against Sean Miller in Arizona. The last time Arizona won the title game was in 1997. 21 years ago, that was. It is Jesuit as well that equals 84 and 21. Arizona also equals 84. It is Jesuits that preside over rigging of professional sports. It is Catholic that equals 35. Xavier is a Catholic university. Arizona scored 71 points in their loss to Xavier last year. And Arizona this year, this is the team's 35th appearance in the NCAA tournament. That is why this is going to be a very significant tribute to Arizona ending a 21-year title drought. It is a Jesuit tribute to the state of Arizona. Now playing around with the date calculator. Now I need to go to my online calculator because Chris Mack, the Xavier head coach, 214 victories, 218 wins. I have to subtract to see the difference between his win-loss record. A win-loss record of 121. It's Revelation in gematria that equals 121 and 49. Sean Miller, 49 years old this year, I believe. So very interesting how there's a win-loss record of 121. "137 days between November 17th, the day of Sean Miller's birthday, to April the 2nd of 2018. 137 days under federal investigation, the feds, the capital of the federal government. Washington, D.C. equals 137 in gematria. I find that very interesting that there's a total of 137 days between his birthday to April the 2nd. I find that pretty interesting, to say the least. Sean Miller's birthday, a birthday numerology this year of 45. Sean Miller equals 45 as well. 37, 47, 54, 64, 65. And this is why this investigation is bridge inscripted. Sean Miller's birthday, November 17th of 2017. His birthday numerology for Sean Miller during the season was 65. It is investigation in gematria that equals 65. Sean Miller's birthday numerology is 65 for this year. Investigation in gematria equals 665. Xavier, when it's all said and done, let me go back to Xavier. Once again, these teams, Villanova, Virginia, they're not going to make it. You know, they're the favorites. They're gonna go fall. You're gonna see some surprising teams in the Final Four this year. You East Coast people, you don't know anything about this kid, DeAndre Ayton, so keep on running your yada 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 mouths, and the overachieving, the underachieving Virginia team. North Carolina's a great team, okay, but too many losses this year. Duke, they're gonna end up winning with Zion Williamson. This guy is the real deal. He's gonna get the job done for them next year. A pattern of North Carolina losing the final to Villanova, then beating Gonzaga. Duke loses to Arizona, and Duke beats I don't know yet in next year's final. So Xavier would enter the final with 32 wins. 4 victories going to give Xavier an appearance in the Final Four. It is the FBI in gematria that equals 32. Xavier can reach the Final Four with 32 wins to face off against their former coach, Sean Miller, who is under investigation by the FBI. They would appear in the Final Four with 32 victories for a chance to win their 33rd game. At the end of the day, it is Arizona that's going to end a 21-year title drought by having a 2-1 record against Xavier in the NCAA tournament. Arizona is by far the better program than Xavier. Arizona scored 72 points against Duke in the 2001 championship game, the NIT season tip-off. This may have been a championship game. Okay, it was a championship game. 72 points. Arizona beat Duke in his title game. They scored 72 points in the 2001 title loss to Duke, December the 2nd. It is going to be a very interesting for the NCAA tournament, for the regions. It is Arizona, I think, that can be the 54th team to win from the western part of the country, or from the southern region. Let me reach the link for NCAA tournament for all the various statistics. Okay, list of Final Fours is what I needed. Okay, so I'm going to the Final Four pages, people. Okay, Arizona can reach its 5th Final Four and prevent Duke from winning its 5th title, 5-5. Arizona last beat Duke at Minneapolis, equals 55, a lot like the Eagles, giving the Patriots a 5-5 record in the Super Bowl. Right here, Final Four appearances for the West. Arizona can become the 54th team to reach the final. Once again, in this year sequence of 17-18, this adds up to 35, the 17-18 sports year. It is Catholic that equals 35. It is Jesuit order that equals 54. Because Arizona has a gematria value of 84, and so does Jesuit, it makes sense why Arizona would be the team to reach the final and to be attributed to the first Jesuit pope, the first Freemasonic pope, which is Pope Francis. This is really the main tribute that this title game is going to be for us, Pope Francis. Pope Francis Gematria, 122, December -2, 122. Arizona defeated Duke on December the 2nd back in 2013. 2013 was the year that Pope Francis became the Pope, the 33rd degree. Once again, 2013 equals 33. Masonry equals 33. And it is, once again, FBI in Gematria that equals 17. The 2017 sports year was when this tournament began. Now, how about by region? Okay, total South. Arizona can become the 131st team from the South to end up reaching and winning the final, the total amount of teams in the South. Let's see. No, I need the total champions by the South. The champions right here. The total amount of champions in the South that came from the Southern region was 32. That's the region where Arizona is at right now. Arizona is from the Southern region. It is FBI that equals 17. That's where the FBI reference is coming into play. As for the Midwest, as for Duke, 17 once again. They're going to remain at 17 champions. That would be from the Midwest. Duke is going to lose. They're going to lose to the team that really is highlighting the FBI investigation. And Arizona is going to be the 32nd team to win the Southern region. It is Arizona that's under FBI investigation. The FBI equals 32. Arizona would be team number 32 from the Southern region to win the championship. So once again, Arizona over Duke. This FBI investigation may be fake news. There's a lot of facts that have not come out yet about this case and the rampant corruption in college basketball. About a year ago, I predicted DeAndre Ayton to be the #1 overall pick in the draft. More of my work I'm going to post in the description tab if you want to see the work that I've done in May and June of last year for this prediction. But I've been sticking with it ever since then. Arizona over Duke for the title game.